Who's gonna stick around when I'm not at this high level and I start going down? Who's gonna be down with you at that point when you have nothing? It's amazing how much Lil Durk is carrying this album with just his voice, with just, there's not features. They gotta see you killing. It won't matter if you say it. It doesn't make a difference if you're alive or you're dead. If they catch you, eyes on you, it don't matter if you care. If you're living in the streets, you gotta act like you're gonna live and die by this. And if you're caught, there's no sympathy, there's no empathy for you, man. So overall, the rating for this album is, today we're gonna be doing the album by Lil Durk entitled The Voice. Lil Durk is an artist that he's definitely like grown on me over time. When I first heard of Lil Durk, it was around the time of the popularity of Chief Keef, the Chicago drill music. I'm really into G Herbo, but for some reason I was never getting into like Lil Durk's sound. But it turns out that Lil Durk is really the GOAT of a lot of the Chicago drill music. Not until his feature with Drake did he really become this like really mainstream name. Lil Durk got so big that he started putting out artists, and unfortunately kind of losing his artists, like King Von, he lost, rest in peace. It's, for me, it's a first listen of Lil Durk's album. I never really gave this a full listen. I'm really interested to see, you know, if Lil Durk has really grown in the sense of getting into this like mainstream music, coming from the Chicago drill where it's more of like a cult following. Like, that's one thing. Another thing is to get your album out into kind of like mainstream hip-hop. So let's check out The Voice by Lil Durk. This is Rap Philosophy, your source of truth for rap music reviews and reactions, where we have deep conversations about the hip-hop we love. Let's go. Hit that like button and hit that notification bell. The first song is titled Redman. I ain't get a chance to tell you I love you, gon' tell me I love you now. You gotta ride with your gun and tell you outside. Know a nigga down with a name, couple of his niggas still ain't slapped. All these niggas. Yo, this song fire. It starts off with a really nice rhythm, really nice melody, and the lyrics, he's telling it like it is. He said, I never told her I love you, I'm telling you now. They asked me what I'ma be in 10 years, shit, I said a fed. They asked me what I'ma do about this shit, he did. I went to the rush room and he said, they asked me what I'm gonna be here in 10 years, I say the feds. That's what I heard. They asked me what I'm gonna do about so-and-so person, he did. A lot of people on Instagram were throwing all this shade against Lil Durk when King Von, you know, I hate that stuff. When King Von died, saying, oh, all your people's dying, what you gonna do about it, and dumb stuff like that. Like 6ix9ine was trolling him and stuff like that. It's just like, first of all, one, if you're a real G, you're not gonna talk about that. Two, you know, he's just telling it like it is, you know, like what am I gonna do? And ain't gonna repeat that shit I said in my head. Amen. He said, I ain't gonna repeat that, what I said in my head. What you're thinking, I'm not gonna say it. A lot of people who don't have self-control is like, when people ask them questions, they're just gonna say what they're thinking. Sometimes you can't say what you're thinking. Sometimes you have to hold that. I like this song a lot. I like the way it started. I feel like it's like Durk's truth. I love when artists can speak to who they are and tell their stories. All right, track number 2, Refugee. They don't even care if niggas steady dying from, they just flooding the market. Off them drugs, I know it. I want the killer. They don't care if dudes are dying from it, they're just flooding the market. They don't care. That's the drug game. People don't care. It's kind of crazy how people don't understand or care what the consequences of selling drugs. They think it's just like a business move, but it's like, what's the consequence if you flood the streets with this? People just getting harmed. Don't ask me why I got a gun on me, because you niggas be killing the artists. I fell in love with dogs. Don't ask me why I got a gun on me, because you steady killing the artists. Why do you think I'm packing? Because there's always ops out to get you. Look at my diamonds, they ornaments. We turn to killing the tournament. I'm leaving them fakes alone. The homicide's getting solid, leaving them jakes alone. Come on, y'all. Turning cutthroat. We don't cut dope. Can't shave a slut. He said, I'm leaving them snakes alone. I'm leaving them fakes alone. The homicide's getting solved. I'm leaving them jakes alone. He a cuss though if I go broke, turning cutthroat. We don't cut dope. Can't save a slut though. I like this rhyme scheme. He's saying, listen, we leaving all you dudes to the side. Don't talk to me about the case. Don't talk to me about the murder thing that needs to be solved. Like, that's solved. I'm not messing with the cops. It's surprising how nostalgic for some reason this sounds, and very natural that Durk's music sounds to me. All right, let's go to track number 3, Death Ain't Easy. This sounds good. You know, I've heard Durk on some other tracks by G Herbo, and the auto-tune in his voice and the hooks, they sound good. The melody, the singing part of Durk is good. He got that down. Death ain't easy. He's talking about his people. Like, we think death is easy, man, but it's just something that we can't, it's so hard to deal with. No new friends, I'm with the same niggas. They went to jail to catch a main nigga. What you want inside the basement? Stay alive inside the trenches, yeah, I made it. He said, no new friends, I want the same dudes. Came from nothing. You see what fame gives us? They went to jail, took out the main dudes. What's the name would have been around, but he hated. I fell off on my sound and they faded. He said, bitches stealing kids, they trying to take it out my testicles. I never heard. That's a weird line. He's saying they trying to basically get themselves knocked up by me. And that shit we doing, we get caught, we going federal.
And I found myself ain't feeling lost no more. Good weed with the cold around don't make me cough no more.
He's just talking about the death around him. He says here, like, it's not my fault people die. I can't be blamed for everything. And people gotta take accountability for that. It can't be Durk taking accountability for everybody's, you know, losses and problems. And he says, why you tell me that death is easy? They ain't bleed like we bleed. I don't know who says death is easy. I don't know who ever said that. Let's go to track number 4, The Voice.
You looking crazy, none of the kids raised me. I'm dirty, yo, but I'm Chicago Jay-Z. Fellas can't vote right. I can't even vote for what I believe in, shit ain't going right.
I love the beat in this and his voice on this track.
I just dropped a tear inside the feel the rain more right. Another all the hoes I fuck, I blame the porn site. He
said, and I nut in all the hoes that I did, I blame the porn sites. If I caught that right, it's like he ended up sleeping with these girls and ejaculating inside of them, not wanting to, knowing that he could potentially have a baby. Like, it's something that you don't want to do with these girls that you don't really want to be with. I agree. I think porn sites really mess a lot of dudes up. I think they put weird context in situations. They make guys think that certain things are okay, or they kind of mess with, I think, a lot of like young kids' heads and what. Let's go to track number 5, Backdoor.
They had told the jury they trying to indict us all. The lawyers got them out for David, they better sign them all.
It's amazing how much Lil Durk is carrying this album with just his voice, with just, there's not features, there's not like, kind of just his voice and telling, you know, the raw stories of.
Close that back door, can you take that out?
Interesting, it's called Backdoor. It's like a place, your room, your house, and then there's always a back door. And that back door is kind of like a side door, right? That can let people in on some side stuff. And it's like, he's saying, close that back door. I can't be snaked by my own guys.
I know what happened to your homie, don't be next. You got that get back for his block, I tilt my hat.
He said, I know what happened to your homie, don't be next. I know what happened. Make sure you're not next in the situation.
In the trenches, I feel the safest. On the radio, shut out neighbors.
He said, I know this sounds strange. In the trenches, I feel the safest. And on the radio, I'm feeling anxious. I feel the safest where I come from, which may be the bottom, which may be the lowest. Because I know everything. I understand everything. But then on the radio and all this fame and all this new stuff, I don't get it. It's new to me. It's snakes around, so I feel anxious. I feel like I don't really fully understand what's going on. And I think that's an understandable statement. All right, let's go to Still Trappin', featuring King Von. Ooh. This be vicious.
This that shit that had you choking and got two killed. Bitch got ass shots, but I promise that this rap is real.
He says this that got Tuka killed. But again, you know, we get into that conversation, which is like, is it okay to diss your dead ops? And that's something that people were saying when people were dissing King Von after he died. It was like, oh, he would diss his dead ops. And ironically, like, this song dropped right after, you know, after his death, and King Von, sure enough, talking about the death of one of his ops and kind of like mocking it through the hook. Like, regular old citizens, you know, don't really, that's not something that they speak to or can relate to. But from the streets, I think that like how people see the death of an op, that person was out to get me, was out to kill me. So when they die, it doesn't matter. I don't have to have no sympathy for that person, even if, and I don't expect you to have sympathy if someone from my camp dies. So I think it's like eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. It doesn't really matter.
They ain't gon' shoot for real. Call up Milwaukee, grab his Glock and he gon' shoot to kill.
You know, it's something very sad hearing him say these words, knowing that he did get shot by an op who took out the gun really fast, unfortunately. Rest in peace, King Von. I don't think it's okay to say, you know, oh, King Von is weak or contradictive. This is his truth. Like, this was his story, and we can't erase King Von's mistakes or what he was about after his death, no matter how it ended up happening.
Came from the cartel. They say I got mail.
Bills came from the cartel. You know, it's funny how the streets really like have this affinity towards the cartel.
That boy a trophy, I'ma put him on the shelf.
He said, that boy a trophy, I'm gonna put him on the shelf. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. He's comparing a trophy on a shelf with a dead rapper, killing him and then putting his body in a shelf. That's like a trophy in a way to show off to other people. I just love this rhyme.
Why you crying? You a hoe, bitch. Fuck you, now you mad.
Yo, that little clip right there is one of the best few verses I've seen put together in rhymes. Let's go to track number 7, Stay Down, featuring Black and Young Thug.
Chanel round shades like binoculars. Diamond nose ring, they think pop with
I like that little reference to Pac. He said diamonds around the nose, they think Pac would have. Look at Pac, he was kind of like well known for that. Like he had like a diamond, you know, ring in his nose. There's a lot of photos of his face because he looks super unique. And you see that nose ring, so shout out to Tupac. Rest in peace. He said before I eat, I say the Fatiha, a verse from the Quran, knowing that Lil Durk ended up becoming Muslim. He says he's about peace and things like that, which I do always find it like kind of crazy and interesting how a rapper can say they're about peace, but then fill their rhymes with a lot of, you know, notoriously criminal things, you know, things that are quote unquote not good, but at the same time say that they're about peace and that they change their lives. And I think that's just something, an irony of life. I don't necessarily hate them for that or criticize them for that. I just think it's just ironic how it's very hard, I think, for people to leave out the realness of life, no matter how bad, you know, and evil that those themes are. It's hard to leave off those realistic things about the life that you've had, even though you're trying to be good and trying to move ahead and trying to do the right thing. Heard shit through the grapevine. You want time, I'ma take mine. Black's voice is a little nostalgic. I haven't heard him in a while, man. I want that quiet sex, I want that slut talk. Stop acting like you don't wanna go to that slut walk. He said, I don't want that quiet sex. I want that slut talk. It's one of those catch-22s. Like sometimes, you know, people want to have romantic sex. Other times they want to have, you know, the bad sex. And it's kind of like questionable because it's like what turns guys on sometimes or people on is sometimes the thing that is not necessarily good for them. You know, sometimes they fall victim to something because that thing turns them on. So I think when people are in a relationship, they have to explore both sides. They have to explore the romanticism and they have to explore, you know, the raunchy stuff that ends up turning them on. And you know I don't get no fuck, and I know that be why fuck. You love me, what you told me that you ride for me. Keep it gangsta, what you got for me. Let you shop, you don't get out this side. Young Thug is not an artist that I've always been into, but he definitely has a great melody. So he always balances out whatever other artists he's on the track with. Keep your eyes from over here, you can die from over here. He said, keep your eyes away from here. If you on the streets and you catch eyes with someone, you lock them and you're gonna go in like that, you better be ready to go in like that. Because that's always like a hostile thing. Let's go to track number 8, Free Jamell. I heard he was a snake, I wish I found out sooner. The worst is when you're dragged into something, man. It takes you a long time to realize the truth about someone. You done fell victim to everything by that time. That's talking to a killer. YNW Melly's voice, so nostalgic. Unless anyone knows something I don't know, I haven't heard YNW in a while. I don't know. Locked up inside the cage, but it won't be for long. So he must have wrote this verse while he was locked up, you know, and then sent it out to Durk. Niggas wasn't with me from the start, niggas left me when it got hard. And I had my bro. He said dudes weren't with me from the start, they left me when it got hard. I know YNW Melly's real name is Jamell. I guess it's like an old dedication to him, man. It's kind of interesting, you put him on the track. You know, I like that, man. Lil Durk really keeps it real, man. Alright, track number 9, Misunderstood. He said he loved me to death, April Fool. The paper say with time, so I'ma take you through. He said my brothers fall out and they can't make me choose. If something pops off between my people, I'm not gonna get caught up telling. I'm not gonna get caught. He said he loved me to death. April Fools. Read the rapper said he was telling, so I'm gonna take you to him. I say my life misunderstood. I know he feel like some of them niggas don't care. I wonder who will stick around once I fall off. Who's gonna stick around when I'm not at this high level and I start going down? I think a lot of people can think about that in life. It's like no matter what you're doing, even when you go up, you must come down. Who's gonna be down with you at that point when you have nothing? All right, let's go to track number 10, Not the Same. And I be happy when I rush into them bright lights. She gave a discount on her pussy bite cause it's night night. I told my brothers I can't change with all this limelight. He said I'm a snake, but that's the reason I say slime right. No face, make sure his cats are cool, make sure he's that right. No, talking to the popos and nah. If he did, you can imagine it's hard for people to not snitch because they get finessed. You know, they get finessed. They get psychologically manipulated that if they do this, then they're gonna, you know, get some reward out of it. But in the end, there's really no reward when it comes from the streets and from your neighborhood because if people know that you snitch, then there's no way around that. Talk about my past with a melody. I made it out the slums with a felony. I made it out the slums with a felony. I mean, it's almost impossible to make it out of the worst environment you could possibly be in and come out unscathed. Come out without being touched.
Expensive lifestyle every day, I'm spending your mortgage. Looked at my bed like living me next.
Expensive lifestyle every day, I'm spending your mortgage. Sometimes you see these people who are making so much money, but you don't really see them happy sometimes. You know, it really makes you question, like, does money really give you happiness? All right, track number 11, India Part 3.
The way I kiss your lips feel like I kissed you before.
I feel like every rapper, they learn that they've got to have their R&B track. They got to have the song for the women. I'm not always a big fan of the R&B tracks in the rap songs unless it's Drake, because Drake does it so well. So there he is talking about, you know, his dealings with this female and his sexual conversations with her and what he's asking her to do and what she's willing to do for him.
Figured out on my own, had to take you on this journey, got my heart screaming.
Whenever, like, I've noticed, like, a lot of rappers, like, in their songs tell oaths to girls, they always make it seem like that the girl owes them something. But here he is saying, I changed your life from the ghetto and you gonna do me for some Margellas. Can't y'all just make a nice romantic song towards a female and just don't throw in the fact of your pride and say you're doing it because of this, because of that? Because if you know you have a girl who's doing it for Margellas, then you got the wrong girl. All right, let's go to track number 12, Coming Clean.
She gon' give me the sloppiest head with her good teeth. And she love when I be up. Why do these niggas be loving these bitches? Me and Bernie in them together.
I don't know how I feel about these Lil Durk songs where he's telling his, these funky sexual conversations he has with these girls. This is like to garner a lot of the female, you know, fans and audience. I think a lot of women like to hear, you know, guys dedicate themselves and talk about all the things that they want to do sexually and things like that and what they're willing to do for the girl.
Niggas get confused cause they be knowing that I'm famous. Big enough when they dad they mama trip like they ain't know that they was dangerous. You say you love them on, you don't gotta feel it. I can't lie, we going strong.
This song kind of feels like the whole album. It's just him kind of like telling his, like, you know, story. When they died, their mama tripped like they ain't know that they was dangerous. There was a story of FBG Duck's mom. I think it might have been towards Lil Durk. The mom came out saying, you dissed my son, but they're like Lil Durk saying, why are you coming out after you know the life of your son and what they lived? Why are you coming out now and talking about his ops and saying why you're talking about him? Like, you know what happened. So keep it real.
I'm on that corner, he on that corner, we turned to Malcolm, nigga, in the middle.
I'm on that corner, he on that corner, we turn to Malcolm, dude in the middle. We here, the other person here, we surrounded, dude. Let's go to track number 14, Change.
They gotta see you killing, it won't matter if you say it. It doesn't make a difference if you alive or you.
He said, waking up with gunshots every night, wasn't scared. Rules around the trenches, ain't no trapping if you scared. They gotta see you killing, it won't matter if you say it. It doesn't make a difference if you're alive or you're dead. If they catch you, eyes on you, it don't matter if you care. If you're living in the streets, you gotta act like you're gonna live and die by the streets. You can't talk about it, you gotta make sure that you're gonna do it. And if you're caught, there's no sympathy, there's no empathy for you, man.
I was scared to show my pants, I ain't wanna lose a fan. I was standing on my block cause I ain't wanna miss the chance.
I like that line. He said, I was scared to show my past, I didn't wanna lose a fan. That's really interesting. I think when a lot of people go through this when they get popularity, is sometimes they have regrets over the past and the life that they led, and sometimes they want to like stifle that and keep that hidden because they're scared that if the people in their lives currently who weren't in their lives in the past know about their past, they're gonna lose them.
Shoot out with a nigga, blick him, take a free shower. Ain't no fun cause y'all got what y'all got, then it's gonna take hours. I don't know shit, I ain't no cow. Juvenile, I bomb myself out with my that you acting on. You the type to carry 100 cash and still ask for money.
Let's go to track number 15, Lamborghini Mirrors, featuring Booker 600. Mess with me or mess with my ops. You can't be in the middle. You can't be playing both sides.
Getting money in the hood, you don't spread love, then they killing you. Number one rules, look out in your rear view, you get fan down. Talk about that shit you did in your past, you did, don't say it like.
Number one rule, look out of your rear view, you'll get fanned down. Talk about that shit you did in your past, you did, don't say it loud.
Fucked up my life and I can't stand up. Knock right on my granny though, but I ain't wanna have to lose my life now, you not on the block again. It's one point we had fell off, now we at the top again. When I asked you, you said no, so I won't ask again.
Alright, this song kind of fire. Let's go to the final track on the album called To Be Honest.
And I love my bitch, I share my attitude, true fears. My heart, you know my pain attached. Too deep in bars when I'm paying cash. Cross me once, can't get another chance.
He said, I gave you my heart, just don't my pain attached. I can give you all of me, just make sure that you understand you're gonna get everything of me. Because I have pain. So if you want my heart, you gotta take some of the pain that I have as well. You cross me once, can't get another chance. It is almost damn near impossible to ever let someone cross you and be okay with it. Because once that person does it once, it's almost like you can never know if they're ever gonna do it again.
You been real ever since we locked it in. Got your statement, I said I'm gonna see it.
Something about this, I like the raw sound of this track. Now that we've heard the whole album, song by song, let's do the full overall review of Lil Durk's The Voice. Lil Durk is definitely an artist that's been up and coming for a long time. He always feels like he's up and coming because I never feel like he's ever fully mainstream, although he's been out for almost a decade. Since 2000, I believe 13, 12, I think he started making mixtapes and music. Only up until last year is when he got his feature with Drake. One thing we know is that it takes a really long time for an artist to really break ground. I don't feel like Durk is still mainstream, but I think he could be featured on tracks and a lot of mainstream people will understand Durk's voice. He has a very melodic voice. He has a resonant voice. The one issue I have with a lot of his stuff is like, if you like Durk, it's because you like Durk. It's because you like his music. You like the way he sounds and you're willing to listen to him. One thing is that he doesn't really have like hooks to his music. And a lot of times his hooks always just sound like it's just him rapping still. Like there's no difference between his verse and his hook. It just sounds almost like another verse. The good of that is like it's Durk. The bad of it is that it's really hard to have this like repeat listen to a lot of his music, or that it doesn't really stick. But he has good rhyme schemes, his vocals are great, and you know, I think if you like Durk's voice, you like him. The beats were good. A lot of times they were very piano, melodic, you know, rhythms in the background, very mellow. While they were good, I think a lot of times they were repetitive, so a lot of the songs ended up sounding the same. The beat is not versatile enough on the album, so I think overall I give it a 6.5 because there's not enough versatility. For vocals and rhyme scheme, I love Durk's vocals. I actually think he's a really good rapper and really has good rhyming skills and really has a good melody. The one thing about it is that I think he doesn't seem to vary a lot of the vocals throughout the song. So a lot of it sounds very the same. And I think he needs a little more versatility and a little more change up on his vocals. So for the vocals and rhyme scheme, I give him a 7. For melody and hooks, the problem is that I don't think Lil Durk has almost any hooks on his album. I really feel like the hooks sound like another verse. I don't really ever feel like a change up. A lot of times when I'm listening to his music, I listen to a song, it almost sounds like it's just one verse. That could be okay once in a while, but it can't be okay for a full album. Like for example, the song, one of the best songs in the album featuring King Von, Still Trappin', is a song that sounds like a song. It has like an intro, like an outro, it has a definitive hook, it has 2 distinct verses that sound different from each other. That's what we need to see a little more of in Durk's album. That's not to say that Lil Durk stuff is bad or that he's not good. I think his verses are great, I think his voice is great. Just in terms of pure music, I think these are things that can enhance the album. So for the melody and hooks, I have to give it a 6 because I don't feel that there are that many hooks. So overall, the rating for this album is about a 6.5. We could say we can give it a 7 because I think there are some tracks that you can repeat listen to. I would listen to this over again because I personally am a fan of Durk's voice and of his sound and of his themes. Now for my favorite tracks in the album, I really like the one with YNW Melly, Free Jamell, and I really respect that it was a great ode to YNW Melly. Free Jamell, Still Trappin', Refugee, Stay Down, Death Ain't Easy, Changes, Lamborghini, Going Strong, and to be honest. That's been my review of Lil Durk's The Voice. This has been Rap Philosophy, your source of truth for rap music reviews and reactions, where we have deep and meaningful conversations about the hip hop that matters to us. See you guys on the next one. Peace.